Alright, how's it going, everyone? So we're going to be desoldering some SMDs. So what I'm looking for off of this board are SMDs like voltage regulators, 2R2s, which are really good for shunt modding graphics cards. Just regular SMDs. I have to check to see what actual ohms these are. I'll have to check those afterwards. After I take them off, I'll have to check that over. We can do some of that as well on here, just to show you how to properly check it, because I can show you how to check these right now, but they might not show correctly. So there's a whole bunch of SMDs on here. I can show you right now what I mean by might not be accurate. We have it set to ohm. And then what we're going to do here, I'll show you what I mean. But it might not be accurate. So I'll show you that right there. And I'll do this SMD over here, which is a resistor. Gonna jump all over the place. That's why it's hard to do check your resistors while it's on the board still, because then you'll get this, which is no good. You don't want to see this. So you desolder these SMDs just to make sure. Just check SMDs while they're on the board. What's good to do is just check it while it's on the board, just to make sure it's working. But while they're off the board, that's how you know that they're actually correct or not. And if I show you this SMD over here, which is a 2R2, 2.2 ohm, which is this one here. It's reading 2.5, which is not correct. It's not correct. It's 2.2. This is a 2.2 ohm. Try to show that. And I'll go 2.5. See how it says 2.5? It's no good. Okay, it's going to slowly go down. But this is a 2.2 ohm. So it should be reading 2.2 plus or minus. But since this is a fairly good actual multimeter, it should show 2.2. That's why you check your resistors while it's not on the actual board. Sure why I can't see this here. 1 sec. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Yeah, so we'll desolder. I'm going to be using hot air. I will be using hot air for most of this, taking it off. I won't be using flux. There's no need to use flux while you're desoldering. When you're soldering though, I do recommend using some sort of flux. A little bit of flux does help. There's a lot of different kind of flux, but 8140 works really good. 8341 works really good, so it's a really good flux to be using. It's a no clean flux, and you want to use that when you're soldering, not when you're desoldering stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off. Guaranteed what I want is this 2.2 ohm. Again, I want this for when I do my power limit mods on graphics cards. 2.2s are what I really like to have, and I'll be desoldering all the 2R2s on this board and putting them in a bag for future projects. And then I'm also going to want these voltage regulators. These are probably 3-volt voltage regulators. Also very good to have. They could also be 1.2 or 1.3 volt. I'll have to check those with the multimeter as well. If these are 1.3, I would like them as well. Those are good for graphics cards that the voltage regulator goes on. So it's always good to have those as well. And I'm probably going to take off these 16 volt capacitors. These are 270 16 volt. I probably will take these capacitors off as well and use them. So we'll just get some hot air here going, and yeah, so I blew up a capacitor the other day to show what happens to capacitors if you heat them up too much. They blow a bit quicker if you use heat and voltage onto them, but yeah, they blow up pretty good, and you gotta be careful with hot air around capacitors. So there we go, 2R2's off. Now the main thing when you're doing this kind of stuff here, especially if you're taking off these 2R2s or even any kind of SMD, which is the surface mount technology or surface mount device, however you want to say it. When you're taking these off, you're just going to check to make sure the solder goes shiny. When that's shiny, that means it's soft enough to where you can take off the actual component. So there we go, right there. There's the 2R2 taken off. I'll zoom in a bit. So here's the 2R2 here, and this is good for no power limit mod for graphics cards, at least the way I do it. Some people use other resistors for it and do it a different way. I do it a certain way, so that way I'm actually shunt modded on top of an actual resistor, not on the resistors onto the actual power connectors. Do it to the PCIe Express and also to the actual power. So boom, there we go, and I'll put that away, keep that for safekeeping as one. That is one and done. Now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take off these voltage regulators, which are right here that you can see. I'll be taking these off as well. Again, these are more or less could be 1.3 volt. And trying to make sure I'm staying away from this capacitor over here from the heat. There's one. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. There's two. Again, trying to work the heat so that way it's not hitting any other components. And there's three. And the capacitor is very close. It didn't go boom. As you can see, we got some regulators, just to guarantee that there's stable 1.3 volts going. There we go. There's three of them, and I'll save those as well. Again, good for fixing up graphics cards and other components that I may use. Got this motherboard no good. It's free, so using it as a donor board and saving up as much of these SMTs and or capacitors that I can and utilize them for my overclocking is what I'll do. Now I'm going to be looking for other 2R2s. These are a little too small for the 2R2s I'm looking for. I might actually grab these 2R2s here that you can see. Hopefully you can see that just fine. But yeah, these are 2R2s as well. I'll probably will use those. So I'll grab those off as well then. One. Oop. There's two. Since they're a bit smaller, they're a little bit quicker to take off. The board's actually warmed up quite a bit too now, so a little bit easier to do. And as you can see, if we can focus it, focus it, focus. No, it's not going to focus for me. It's not going to focus enough. Hopefully you can read this. And there you go, there's another 2R2 right here. A very small 2R2 compared to. And yes, these are the same. These are 2.2 ohm or 2R2s. These are the same, even though you can see this is a big 2R2 and this is a small 2R2. And they do the same thing, 2.2 ohms. Again, very good to do when you're doing graphics card mods. It's all these 2R2s, these lovely 2R2s. This is a 1RO, which is not what I want. The minimum I like to use is a 2R2 when I do my shunt mods. So this 2R2 and this 2R2 I'll grab. The 1ROs I won't worry about, but this 2R2 I'll grab as well. This 2R2 over here. Right here. 2 as well. So I'll grab all of those. Grab every single one that I can. So I will use 3 per graphics card. And yeah, whether or not they actually work proper, I'll have to check them with the multimeter. I'll check with the multimeter afterwards, after taking them off the board, just to guarantee they're putting out 2.2 ohms. Because right now they are reading 2.5 and 2.6, which is a little bit higher than what they're supposed to be, but since they're on the board still, that's why it reads a little bit off, just due to the fact it's still on the board. So we will take off. These 2R2s here. This part of the board's still a little warm, so hopefully I didn't take too much here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Almost. Almost. There we go. We'll take off this little 2R2 right here. There we go. Again, the 1ROs, I don't care about them. I don't care about the 1 ohm. They will put the graphics card into a limp mode, which is no good. So that's why I like to use 2R2s. You can find abundance on old graphics cards, old motherboards. So that's why I like to use them. Now, main thing, so you'll see there's a capacitor right here. You gotta be careful with the components around it. I should desolder it, make things a little bit easier for myself. Main thing is just make sure you're putting the heat to the actual component you want and not to the actual capacitor, because these capacitors will go, and if they go, hopefully you have eye protection on, because they shoot up like a rocket. So there we go, there's a bunch of them off now. So maybe I'll take off those capacitors. See how high it is. And it's warm. They're warm. Maybe I'll take the capacitors off. Those capacitors is right if I can show it here. So the capacitors are these two prongs here. So this prong here, these two, and these two. Now, these can be a little tricky for some. What you want to use for taking off capacitors, I've shown this in some videos though as well, is you're going to want to use a solder pen, a desoldering pen to suction, so it sucks the solder up. It does have a ceramic tip. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat these up. Heat these up. And then we're going to shock out the solder. And that's what you got to do. Now, you can see all this lighter color. That's all copper. It's all copper, so all this heat that I put right here is going to be transferred around the board. So it's good to heat this up quite a bit before you do anything. Well, I didn't have to do anything for that one. It came right out. Didn't have to do nothing. Nice. I wonder if this one's going to be the same. Just show it. Be nice to this one. Yeah, okay. Nice. Alright. Nice. Didn't have to do anything. Now, if I was replacing those capacitors, you have to suck out that solder. That way you can put the next one through and then resolder it yourself. So here we go. Capacitor. Perfectly still intact. Exactly what I wanted. So there's the capacitor. Now we'll probably use this for adding an extra capacitor or a bunch of capacitors to a graphics card to help stability when you're pushing the clocks of it. When you're pushing graphics cards, it's good to add on extra capacitors just to get a little bit more megahertz out of it. Helps stabilize the voltage. There you go. That's how you take off a capacitor. And that's where it came from. Right there. These two holes. Perfect. Easy peasy. And yeah, these are 16 volt 270s. There you go. And yes, I will be saving those as well. And here's the other one. Same thing, 16 volt 270s. Which is perfect. What would be nice about those capacitors though, if they had a little bit longer prongs. Just makes soldering them onto the actual GPU a little bit more of a pain, but it's still not the biggest issue, especially when I'll be soldering with an actual soldering iron. I won't be using a hot air, I'll be using a soldering iron just to solder these back on to the graphics card, just to add on extra capacitor, like I said. And we'll be adding on. So there you go. Just helps stabilize the voltage. So there's that. Those are the capacitors I want off of it. As you can see, they're gone. I'll show you. So here are the pads here, as you can see here and here. These are the pads where those capacitors were. And now they're gone. Makes it easier to desolder all of this as well. Now I do have a couple more 2R2s I would like. So I can show here. There's a 2R2 that I want, and a 2R2 here that I want. So I'll take these 2R2s off as well. Again, I don't care about these 1ROs, these 1 ohms. Here's another 2R2 right here that I would take off. And yeah, we might take off some of these other voltage regulators onto it, but I don't really care about them, to be honest. I only really care about taking off the 2R2s, main things that I take off of these, and capacitors. The other resistors I don't really care about either. I'll just save them though, just in case I do have a project that I might need it for. So yeah, there's a few other capacitors I want. There are 16 volt 270s as well. There's 4 more that I would like to take off. Again, you can use a lot of capacitors on one GPU, so having multiple of them is really good to have. Yeah, and the 2.5s, I don't really care about the 2.5s. They won't really help me that much. These red ones here, these 2.5s, I don't really care about them all that much for what I need for my overclocking. I don't. So we'll heat this section back up again, and we will take off this 2R2, the big one first, and then the other ones will be easier because the board's warmed up. Sorry for the fan. I could turn it down, I guess. There we go, got the fan down now. So hopefully it's not so loud now. It does have adjustable fan soldering station, so you can adjust the fan. Just put some heat to it. Shouldn't take too long. Go. There's one. And now that's the board's warmed up. We should be able to take off this small 2R2 off the side here fairly easily. There we go. The motherboards, PCBs, especially GPUs, have a lot of copper in them, so it can wick away the temperature very quickly. If anyone has any questions, any tips that you would like to know about, then let me know. And as you see here, there's another 2R2. We're going to take that one off. Should only take a second here to warm this section up. There we go. And nothing went boom. These are chokes here on the sides. Well, VRMs more or less. This board doesn't have many VRMs, unfortunately. Oh, these are VRMs. These are chokes, as you can see. So these are VRMs. And yeah, it's just a cheap board, so it's not made for overclocking whatsoever. And it's just a donor board. As you can see, I use the pins off of it. I fixed up a couple motherboards already from taking pins out of this and actually used them on another motherboard to fix it up. For a high-end overclocking motherboard for LG1366, I took off a pin and replaced it on that, and got some pretty good scores with that board, so very happy with it. Now I'm looking for other 2R2s. Anybody see other 2R2s close by? Because I can't. I do not see any, just 1ROs. Again, don't care about them at all. Can't see anything. I don't see anything. I guess I'll take off these regulators. regulators are good to have. Again, for graphics cards, more or less for the memory chips. Sometimes they go and then you get really unstable memory overclocks. So having these 1.3 volt regulators are very good to have. So I'm going to take a second for this one. There we go. Now, do I have any 2R2s around? No, I do have a 10, a 3.1, 10, 3.1, 1.0. I don't really see any, unfortunately. Not close by. I don't see any close by. That really sucks. Oh, at least we have some over here. I'll have to flip the board around in 1 second. Now I am using a steelwork topper to help out with this. And it's steel, and it also has, make sure no transfer of heat can transfer down to the actual work spot that I have. So it's one thing you gotta look out for, because when you heat up these boards, it does put a lot of heat to it. Can you see it? Can you see them? Can you see it? No, you can't see it. So we'll do this. That over, and we should be able to see the 2R2s. So we can see the 2R2. This is going to be a bit more challenging to do. Maybe I'll switch a tip to it and put a smaller fine tip onto it to help out. It is a little close to these capacitors, and I'm not even going to worry about taking those ones off. I don't need them. Just a waste of time, more or less. So we got these. This is what you want to use when you're trying to get a little bit fancier. Hey, how's it going, Squeeze? On the board jiggle physics. Yeah, so you're going to want to use a fine tip so that way you can get in there and blow the heat right directly on the component. You won't have to worry about the capacitor as much. I'm not really that worried, but if you're more worried about the capacitors since they might be old and worn, you can cover it up with aluminum foil or a steel cover to help make sure that they actually don't go boom. Yeah, I'll just use that. Alright, we got it switched on. There we go, get the fine tip. And there's a little bit of flux on this side too, as you can see. There's flux on that side from another. That was also another 2R2 that was there. It's probably why it's taken off. And we're just going to put the heat to that component. This might take a second because it is around a couple chokes and VRMs, so it's going to take away a lot of heat, unfortunately. So I'd get to put a fine tip on, or else these capacitors more or less would explode, which I'm going to try not to do. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, baby. A lot of heat around, or a lot of copper around this area, so it's just wicking away everything. All the heat just disappearing. Come on, baby. Might need a little bit of flux, it might help a bit. Oh, taking forever for this one. Just taking its sweet time. I really want this one. This one is taking a lot of heat. Holy moly. A lot of copper around this area. Kind of a pain to take off this 2R2. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Now, is there another 2R2 around? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. So the board's warmed up now. I should be able to take off this 2R2 as well. Again, I'm taking off these... Yeah, how's it going, Theo? I'm also taking off these 2R2s again for my overclocking on graphics cards. This is how I do my shunt mods. So there's no power limit shunt mods on my graphics cards. I like to use 2R2s. The board's warmed up on this area because, again, all this copper, all this right here you see is all copper. All this right here you see is copper. So all this board should be nice and warmed up now. So this should only take a second. So I should be able to peel this off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. And I don't care about the 1 ROs, the 1 ohm. I don't care about them at all. Born, what's up, man? Yeah, I did, man. I actually did. I was like, man, nah. I gotta keep doing stuff. I gotta get some more videos and more soldering stuff done for people. I'm doing pretty good. I'm accepted to... You have a multimeter finally? Nice. If you need any help with the multimeter, let me know. Yep. Let me know. I can help you out with multimeters. Measuring stuff on the boards like resistors and that, you want to take it off the board and measure it. Because measuring on the board, you're not going to have... It's not going to be fully accurate, unfortunately. It's best to take off a resistor and then measure it that way. And then, just to guarantee, you can measure it while it's on the board, but what's going to happen is it's not going to read accurate. And I just saw something I want again. This is again a 1.3 volt regulator, which I want. Now it's right by another capacitor and whatnot, but that's okay. Hoping the board's warmed up enough for this. So again, it's right by plastic and capacitor, so this could be hopefully quick. If not, this plastic might melt. Yeah, we got it off easily. Easily. I like it. No. I'm looking around to see if I can find some more 2R2s. So as you see the zeros are just pass-through resistors, or they don't do anything. There's a lot of them on motherboards and GPUs that you don't know of. They're just pass-throughs. There's no security. What are you talking about, security? And keep measuring extremely low voltage. What do you mean you're measuring low voltage? Low voltage on what? It should be able to go even down to 11.3 volts. It should be able to power on still. Capacitors will still charge up and disperse the correct amount of power. Trying to find some more components that I want. Might have to grab another board. Doesn't look like there's any other components that I need on this board. Yeah, it's fine. 12 volt is dead, so it's not. 9 volt, yeah. Yeah. It's dead. Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, it's not good. But that 9 volts, no good. Oh, found some 2R2s. Although it's right by that. If. Oh, copper there. It'll take a lot to heat up. Board's not even warm there. You have a different board. Can't desolder VRMs or anything to. Yeah, desoldering VRMs, hot air is really what you gotta want. And you can technically desolder the VRMs, no problem, right? Like you can desolder VRMs, no problem. It's just what you're gonna need is a copper wick, right? Copper wick to desolder all the components. So you heat up this with a soldering iron with a copper wick. It'll suck up all the solder off. It'll go on to the next one, and you should be able to just pull them off. It's just easier with hot air for sure. Chokes, Chokes you can do with hot air or soldering iron, of course, because all you need is a suction pen. You will need a fairly good soldering iron though. The one I have here is a 150 watt soldering iron, and the soldering hot workstation, so the hot air that I have is 600 watt. Yeah, those you can get fairly cheap for BIOS chip read writer. You can get them very cheap too. You can get them very, very cheap. There's some VRMs that fried off of show it. There we go. So you see, it's all black. It's all black. These VRMs are all fried. Every single one of them are fried. And this is from overclocking to 8150 too far on air. And no cooling whatsoever on the VRMs. That's why this board's a donor board. AM3 Plus, AM3B, AM3 Plus board. Again, I want these. These are 1.3s. I want all the 2R2s off of this. See, €17 for the ones that you need to plug in the chip reader. That's right. €17. You should be able to get. Yeah, I guess that's around the price. Should be, yeah. I mean, you should be able to get them for $20 Canadian. They're fairly cheap. That way you can actually fix bad BIOS. So people that did a bad BIOS flash, you can fix up those boards for them. And I want all these 2.5 volts, and I want these 16 volts for sure. I might have pulled off all the 2R2s off of this board already. I've done a few GPUs now, so I might have taken all the 2R2s off of this. Well, I got a really small 2R2, but I don't know. Yeah, you can use that 2R2. I'll take off that 2R2. It started to fail on the BIOS side because sometimes it would be purple, then it just corrupted. Yeah, that sounds like BIOS, bad BIOS. Or just the BIOS chip was failing. Which sucks. Sucks if the BIOS chip fails. I mean, it's not common. Definitely not a common thing to fail. Try not to heat up these capacitors. These ones will go pretty quick. You'll see these start peeling back, and boom! And it's a boom. There's so much copper in this area. Come on, baby, I just want this little resistor. It's such a small resistor. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. This one does not want to come off. Someone super glue this one. It's not even soldered. Holy moly. Someone definitely super glued this one. Holy moly. This one's taking forever. Like everything else is coming off of it. This 2R2 does not want to come off. Might just leave that one because I need it. I need it. I need it. This one's taking forever. I'm leaving it. It's, yeah. No thanks. I don't know whether it is kind of on. Oh yeah, it's hot here. But I don't even have AC where I am, and I'm on top floor. It's it gets like very hot, like over 120 Fahrenheit. Gets very, very hot where I am. Yeah. No AC. Alright, decided the chipset off of this one. As you can see. I decided chipset. Should take out the battery, save it. Goodbye. Some plastic on there. Not sure what else I want. Yeah, that's why I haven't been doing a whole lot of soldering. And since it's a bit cooler tonight, it's only cool at night really. That's why I'm doing soldering. Because, yeah, since it gets so hot, don't really want to do it throughout the day. It just makes it hotter. I don't see any other 202s. see, 4.7, a big 4.7. We'll never use a big 4.7. There's a few more 1.3 volt regulators. Those are always good to have. Always good to have. Not sure. Don't see any other 2R2s on this one either. I've taken off a lot of 2R2s off my donor boards for my graphics cards because I've done a few now. Holy. I used to have a whole bunch of baggies full of SMDs, capacitors I wanted to use, but I don't have them anymore. So that's why I'm doing this. I got a few that 4, 5, got 5 1.3 volts. 1, 2, oh, 6 actually. Got 6 1.3 volt regs. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2.2, and 2 capacitors right now. So should I get some more? Should I get some more capacitors off? 2.5 and 16. I guess it doesn't hurt. There's no other ones. There's no other ones that I need. I don't see any other 2R2s. I mean, the 1.3s I'll probably be using for voltage mods. So I wanted to try them out. The 1.3 volt regulators, try them out. You have to add them onto 1 ohm resistor or straight through resistors for it. But looking, not sure what else I need. Not sure. I think that's all I really need, to be honest. I'm looking though, I'm looking. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Resistor's reading 2.5. I don't want it to read 2.5. So here I'll show you what I'm doing here. We have resistors. Go. Now I'm measuring resistor right now. It's 2R2, 2.2 ohm. And I'll do this one here. Let's give it a second. So it's all auto ranging. It's reading 2.5. I'll hold it for a little bit. It should go down to about 2.2 or 2.3, plus or minus, of course. Looks like we're reading 2.4 on this one. So they're definitely long enough. So 2.4. Again, it's plus or minus. Now let's do a very small 2R2. Again, it's auto ranging. Gotta give it a second. I'm hoping it reads 2.5. Come on, 2.4. Yes, that's a bit better. 2.3. Come on. Again, it's plus or minus. There we go. Come on, baby. It's about 2.3. Yeah, 2.3, which is more what I'm looking for. You can check each resistor when you're doing stuff like this. Check each resistor to actually see what it's actually doing, and use the one closest to the actual what it's supposed to be reading. These are 2.2 or 2.2 ohm. These are 2R2. So if I hold it there long enough, it should read. Nah, this one's reading higher, unfortunately. So it's probably like 2.45 ohm. And it should be reading like 2.2. Check another one here. And we are reading. Come on, go down. Come on, baby. 2.3. That's what I'm looking for. Closer to 2.2 the best I can. Again, I'm doing this so that way I can power mod graphics cards, unlimited power mod. So that way when I do a core voltage mod, I don't have to worry about hitting a power limit mod. And then let's do this one. You do have to hold on to it for just a little bit, just to guarantee that it's actually work properly, reading the correct, because it's an auto range, so just hold on to it for a bit. And it looks like this one's reading 2.4, 2.5. Does not look like it's going down 2.3. No, unfortunate, very unfortunate. Let's try this one here. You gotta hold on to it for a little bit here. Again, it's fairly easy to do. Resistors, checking the actual resistance off the motherboard or whatever PCB you're doing is better. This one's terrible. So this one's no good. By the looks of it, it's no good. This one here looks good. 2.3, that's what I want to see. 2.2 would be better, but plus or minus. The resistors are plus or minus, and then the actual whatever multimeter you're using could be off as well. It doesn't matter how expensive multimeter you have. It does not matter. 2.3 is what I want to see though. So that one's a good one. So I'm going to separate these now. Guarantee that I'm keeping the ones that I don't want away. The ones that I want, I will be putting together. That's why taking them off the board and then actually checking the resistance of them is the best thing to do. And we do have one more of these 2R2s to do, so we're going to do that one. And again, you're gonna hold for a little bit here just to make sure that it's gonna read correctly. 2.4. Yeah, 2.4. Now I'm gonna do 2.3, 2.4. Fairly close, better than 2.5. Now we're gonna check the actual voltage of this is being a pain in the butt. A different one here. There we go. Should do 130. Yeah, 130, 1.3 volt. So if we do range, voltage, not even 1.3 volt. What are you doing? Still not bad. 1.3. That is what we want to see on those resistors. Again, they are going to be plus or minus, so they might not read exactly what they are. Does not matter how good of a multimeter you have. Not all multimeters are the best, unless you have it signed off by a well-known electrician and or a multimeter strictly for reading certain voltages. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't see any 2R2s on this board that I can use. If anyone has any questions, again, please let me know. All right, let's see. Again, I've already started the chipset off of this. Take these bad boys off. I'll zoom in for you too. Keep the heat on it while I do this. There we go. One. And the board should be warmed up enough. These next ones should be fairly quick. 2. 3. Fairly easy to take those off. And those should be 1.3 volt regulators that I want. And there's a 2R2 right there that I want. A couple 2R2s that I want. There's one right here that I want. Again, so I can do no power limit mod on graphics cards. That's what I like to use. 2R2s. 1. This one over here. And do I see any other 2R2s? Yes, we do, right here. 3, 2, 1, boom. And then that's it for 2R2s that I, oh, we see another one. Right there, beside the choke. This one's gonna be a pain in the butt to take off though, because beside the choke, there's a lot of copper around the choke here. It's not even that it's in a difficult spot, it's just all this heat, so I might just, oh yeah, it's not gonna be easy. A lot of copper, so it's gonna take a lot of heat. A lot of heat. So much heat, mine say nope. There's one here. I don't see any. Yes, this donut board is very dirty. That's fine. Does not matter. I see these VRMs are done for. There's two R2s there. Just don't know if these ones are going to be any good because they're around the VRMs that were extremely bad. One. Board should be warmed up here, so this one should be fairly quick. There's two. Now I'm going to check those with the multimeter, see if those ones are any good. I don't think they are. Could be wrong on it though. So I'm gonna check it out. See if it's any good. Nope. Didn't think so. Did not think they would work. No. Oh. No, that's so not good. That's definitely not good. So these are 2R2, supposed to be 2.2. It's reading well. Actually, yeah, it took a while for it to go down. I don't know if I want to trust it. 2.4. If I read 2.3, I'll be kind of happy, to be honest. Might be usable. Nope. And grab this other one and chuck it out. Here's the other one. That's better. It's reading 2.5. Oh, 2.4. Please go down 2.3. These 2.3 will be fairly accurate. 2.2. Again, plus or minus. It's better than the other one. This is better than the other one. This is the other one. 2.5 it's reading. Oh, 2.4. 2.4, 2.5. And they all work, so that's good. And I think those ones will work because they're so close to the VRMs. The VRMs, they got so hot, melted through the board. So they work. I'm happy about that. Very happy. Awesome. Very happy about that. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Hi. What? That's so. Well, I think that's gonna be it for this one here. Starting to warm up already. I'd like to get it nice and cool before morning, and it's already basically morning. So it's gonna be it for this one here, guys. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about desoldering some SMDs, capacitors, checking out SMD both the actual ohms that are on it. Yeah. Thanks, Born. You should get some rest too, man. Jeez. Alright. So that's it for this one. Again, as always, thanks for watching. And don't forget to get her done. Peace.